Liz Parker-Gagne from Notre Dame Healthcare and Colleen Bielitz from Becker College. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So just before we get into kind of the specific program, just your involvement in the Worcester Women's Leadership Conference, and kind of what do you see kind of the benefit of being involved and encouraging other women to participate? Maybe Colleen, we'll start with you.
Go right ahead.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah. So actually, you know what, Tim, it would help if I kind of give a little history onto how the mentorship program kind of kicked off. So last year I had a lunch meeting with Christine Cassidy, who's a Chief Communications Officer at Fallon Health, and then Christina Andrioli, who's part of the chamber, and we were talking about the Women's Leadership Conference, and we had a conversation about the Rockefeller Institute had, the foundation had put together a statistic report on women and women in leadership, and there's been great disparities as far as women fully participating in the economy and across income levels or geographies. Women really still face disparities as far as wage gaps, as far as unbalanced opportunities for advancement, and then an underrepresentation when it comes to making important decisions. And the foundation found that there were two reasons why. One was pervasive preconceptions of women, and the other was really a lack of support from mentors. So we said, how can we come up with a program where women can find other women to mentor them, or if they want to be mentored by someone? And the Women's Leadership Conference was a great way for that to happen. So I'll kind of let Liz take it from there, because she can kind of speak to what we're doing this year. I don't want to hog the conversation.
Yeah. Oh gosh, not a worry. Certainly, and the Women's Leadership Conference, especially in this 8th year, is, I would call it, the premier group or organization of women in the region who either are already leaders in the community or aspire to be leaders. And so in the past couple of years, our numbers have actually exceeded, or demand has exceeded, the number of seats in the room. And so if anyone's watching and they would like to attend, I recommend registering right now, because as of last night, we had only 7 seats left.
And I think there's two ways, Liz, right? The WorcesterChamber.org, and I think there's a specific
WorcesterWomen'sLeadership.com. Yes.
All goes to the same place.
Exactly. And we have a Facebook page, which is has been really wonderful. Your team updates it regularly with information about our presenters and about the mentoring opportunities. So we'll have 650 women in attendance this year, and it is a wonderful way. You can't, of course, meet everyone in the room.
Right.
We'll do our best, but the mentor program, Reach Up and Out, is to help push along some of those conversations, to ask questions about disparity or about challenges that have been faced and ways in which women have overcome those challenges, and to continuously improve by learning from one another and asking questions about elusive work-life balance and how have you met this particular challenge, being able to ask each other those questions.
Networking, again, we talked in the previous segment a little bit about soft skills and youth development and things, but the idea of kind of networking, learning, mentors, that is such a huge part of kind of career development. And so the Reach Up and mentoring program, which is kind of launching or looking to take the next level here, how are we trying to do those pairings, and how does someone be a mentor? If someone wants to be a mentee, how do we people do that?
Well, we tried to make it as easy as possible, so when anyone signs up for the conference, they're given the opportunity to either sign up to be a mentor or a mentee, and then the chamber selects different people. In the beginning, we were trying to pair it with industry, but we found that we can pair women from different industries. And Liz, I'll let you talk about that a little bit more, but I'll just tell you, my mentee last year was a young woman, and she's in IT, and her name's Lauren, and we're now friends, and she's asked me about different things as far as her career and what she has aspirations to do, and I've kind of asked her, pointed questions to kind of get her where she needs to go, whereas I think if she didn't have somebody kind of mentoring her, she may not have known a particular direction to go in. So I think with experience comes a lot of knowledge that you can pass down to a younger generation that might not know particular, how do I navigate this, or how do I make this particular advancement? And
so many sectors are interdependent, so the idea of having somebody in another kind of sector of the economy who you can know or use as a resource, and then even just learning about it, becoming more worldly and more informed.
Yep. Absolutely. So there's just a quick survey that we send out asking sort of about your career stage and asking about your industry. And then, as Colleen mentioned, we do some industry pairings. Certainly, I'm not going to necessarily be able to give someone STEM type advice. However, just being a woman in the workplace does carry over into many different fields. And we don't expect that these matches will be necessarily the perfect be-all, end-all mentoring matches. And I believe that people are best off having multiple mentors over the course of a career, and especially at different ages and stages of your career. But we certainly hope that this will be the push to ask and to be asked those questions. And it's a warm introduction. It is the excuse to ask those questions that you won't necessarily say at just a networking event. So what challenges are you facing today?
Right.
You'll just ask, so what do you do?
Right. One of the things, the 650, 700 women primarily at the event, and just the feedback on it is just so positive, and that's a lot of people. There's and you're not going to get to meet everybody. I think people really feel it's a worthwhile day on lots of different levels, and there's kind of an energy in the room and a warmth in the room that I think people really find helpful, not just that day, but as they go forward. The agenda, there's kind of a program that kind of moves around. There's workshops and some kind of breakout groups and things, but a couple keynotes, and maybe we could touch on who the keynote speakers are. I don't know who wants to go first. But Colleen, you were talking about
Anita Hill.
Anita Hill, and you made a good point before we came online. There's probably a whole generation of participants and women out there in the workforce who may not remember that, but maybe you could just talk a little about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's the great thing about the Chamber event, the Women's Leadership Conference, is there's women from so many generations, and we're having more millennials than ever attend. But the whole Anita Hill and the confirmation hearings, that happened in the 1980s. So a lot of the women that will be coming weren't even born yet.
Right.
And we wanted to expose them to Anita Hill, to have her be able to tell her story. And I was saying that actually HBO had run the movie Confirmation for the young women that wanted a little bit more information on what exactly did Anita Hill go through. Because really it's a fascinating story, and it shows how very difficult it was for women, especially in the, even in the 1980s, which doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we have a mountain climber, I guess. Yeah.
Allison Levine, I'm looking forward to learning leadership lessons from facing oxygen deprivation and severe cold.
And she didn't just hike any mountain. It wasn't,
It was
Mountain.
Everest.
It was Mount Everest, right?
Not to diss Wachusett Mountain.
No, not at all, because we love it, and that's not necessarily easy hike, but Mount Everest is the penultimate, right? I guess.
Absolutely.
So, and she's going to talk a little bit about that as well, and some different programs and kind of.
Yeah, so there's many different programs that are offered, and they're all to give women different skill sets in particular areas. So. Whether it's for being able to ask for more money, or how to balance things in your life, how to get advance in your career, everything's geared toward different sections of interest that women have said that they want to learn more about. So that's really how it's geared.
And then this mentor program is a way to expand it beyond that day. As a matter of fact, this evening, the first hour of the Chamber's Business After Hours is open solely to the mentors and mentees who are registered for the conference, as an opportunity to meet even before the conference, because certainly that day is very busy and very packed, happily so. But so it starts tonight, and then additionally, of course, we hope that there will be that continuing communication. There's no pressure, it's not formal, but we hope that women will lean on one another going forward and make this extended out into the community throughout the year beyond the one day, which is April 13th.
Right. The two of you represent two of the largest employer sectors in central Massachusetts, you being at Becker and higher ed and healthcare. Just kind of curious, I mean, as your workplace experience, your kind of sector, I mean, what have you gotten out of this? What's the relevance? Is it kind of what we touched on already?
If you don't mind, I'll jump in. Actually, it goes back to Alice Paul, who is one of the women who was really responsible for us having the 19th Amendment passed. She led the Women's National Party in the 1910s, and she had a saying that was, deeds, not words. And basically, in order for there to be equality in society, it's actions that demonstrate our commitment to making change happen. And creating this Reach Out and Up mentorship program was really a way for us to take action and to make something happen. Because it's great, you know, we can all march on Washington and, you know, show our support of one another, but really what actions are we taking to advance women? And this was a way to do that, and that's why Becker College is supporting this program.
No, we're thrilled, and I'm glad you mentioned the sponsoring, and that's you know, having some dollars to kind of put things together and put things up and make the connections is really important. And Elizabeth, you kind of talk about your perspective, what you've gotten out of it.
Sure, I think that mentors get just as much out of it, if not more out of it, than as the mentees do. Often you are learning about a new generation, a new industry, and so in addition, actually, I'm going to miss tonight's event because I'm mentoring at Girls Inc. with some middle school students, and I am absolutely learning more than they are from me. And so it's really wonderful. We also find that many of us who are mid-career think, well, I still need a mentor. I'm not ready to be someone else's mentor. So we're looking in future years to figure out how someone can actually maybe fill both slots. But the mentors and the mentees both get a lot out of this.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point, and I think it's one that's often overlooked, that kind of this intergenerational, and we always need someone, depending on where we are in our career and in our life, to kind of, okay, what's the next phase, the next job, the next opportunity, and how do you take it to the next level, and someone give you some guidance.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, good stuff. Well, I want to thank the both of you for being so actively involved with the Worcester Women's Leadership Conference and your organization's support of it, and look forward to a great day. April 13th at the DCU, just a few seats left, so if people are out there, worcesterchamber.org and Worcester
Women's Leadership
Conference. Okay, so a few different ways for you to get on the website and signed up, and want to thank you for being with us.